Welcome to today's body sculpting, stretching and light core session. In today's session, we're going to be focusing on stretching out the muscles as well as including some light core exercises. Let's get started. Seated on the floor, we slowly roll ourselves downward and bring our knees into our chest. We're holding this position, focusing on our breathing, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Keeping one knee firmly to the chest, other leg raises upward, and we slowly drop this to the ground. Now we are stretching out the hip flexor, and we want to keep the knee as close to the chest as possible. If you're feeling that your straight leg is straining, allow the knee to bend slightly to relieve any strainful muscles. Holding this position, we're lengthening the hip flexor. We're going to work on core exercises. Allowing your bottom leg to float, we bring it in and we straighten it out. This full move is controlled and currently is based at a beginner position with your shoulders rested on the floor. If you wish to make this more intense, you can lift your shoulders off the floor and continue this move for 4. Control the move for 2. And we've got one last one, lengthening it out and slowly placing it on the floor, followed by the shoulders. Let's do our core exercise again. We've got 4, and the shoulders are raised if you wish. And we've got one last one. Control your move and slowly drop the shoulders and the legs to the floor. Holding your position, we take a deep breath in and we exhale, lifting up the leg and the shoulders once again, and we begin our movement. The shoulders are raised for more impact on the core, otherwise you can keep your shoulders rested on the floor. One last one, slowly take the shoulders down, and we have to just repeat this one last time. So we first stretch out the hip flexor here, and when you're ready, lift on up, and we begin our movement for the last 4 and 3 and 2. Last one here, lengthen it out, slowly taking it down, resting the shoulders on the floor. Returning the straight leg back into the chest, we swap our hands over and we're onto the other leg. Lengthen the leg upward and then slowly drop it down to the floor, and we first hold this stretch position. Your knee is nice and tight towards your chest so you can get the full impact of the stretch. The bottom leg is preferably straight, but if you're feeling any strain, allow it to bend. Taking our attention to the core exercise, we bring in the leg and we return it out. Shoulders are rested on the floor and the leg is lengthening out as far as it can go. Slowly allowing yourself to raise up your shoulders if you want to increase the impact on the core. We're going to repeat this for another 2 times, doing full controlled moves. Slowly allow your foot and your shoulder to drop down to the floor as we go back into our stretching position, focusing on our breathing, inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouth. We go back to the legs, lifting up the shoulders, and we've got 4. Remember, your shoulders are raised to make this more impactful. You can place your shoulders on the floor, slowly taking it down into your stretch position, relaxing into the position, keeping the knees close to the chest. Let's go back to the core. Exhaling on the lift, lifting up the shoulders. We've got 4 and 3 and 2. One last time, hold your position and slowly drop it down to the floor. Taking deep breaths, keeping the knee close to the chest, feeling the stretch over the hip flexor. Let's do the core workout one last time. We've got 4, bringing in the knee, full movements. And one last time, lengthening it out and slowly taking it down. Last time in your stretch of the hip flexor. Relax into your position, focusing on your breathing, allowing your full body to relax. Let's return the straight leg into the chest And when you're ready, straighten the legs upward with your ankles over your hips and allow your hands to rest off to the side. From here, we've got the core working as well as stretching out the hamstrings. We're going to increase the stretch by placing our hands on our calves and allowing our feet to come closer to our chest. Try keep your spine on the floor and hold this position. If your knees are bending, this is okay, as long as you're feeling your stretch through the back of the legs. Focusing on your breathing, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. We progress to a core exercise, allowing your spine to release off the floor, rolling over that your feet can touch the floor on the other side. We then return our ankles over our hips and we allow our legs to drop down as far as they can and exhale, lift the legs upward back to our first position. Using our hands to assist us, we can place them behind us, pressing off the floor to lift our bum. We can also place them on the back so we can push the bum over until we go to our maximum. Also on the return, when you drop your legs down, only drop as far as you can. 45 degrees is perfect if that is your maximum. We continue the move, tilting over using the core and using controlled moves. Slowly as we return, we drop the legs down as far as you can and we exhale the legs back upward to its first position. Continue this exercise.
Take the time to call my friends. Get to all the things I said I'd do. It's like
completing off your last exhale up, we keep our feet over our hips and bring our legs into happy baby. Knees are bent off to the side as we hold our feet on the outside and we rock ourselves from side to side. Return yourself to center, change your hand movements to the inside of the feet as we stretch one leg off to the side and we can feel the inner thigh stretching out. We hold this position. Breathing into your stretch, not allowing yourself to force against you, but rather relaxing in your position. We allow the leg to bend and we take it over to the other leg, stretching out the leg as far as you can, feeling the stretches through the back of the leg as well as the inner thigh. Hold your position, relaxing into your position. Fantastic job. We bend both the legs and we straighten into them both, holding this position. Now if you feel as though your legs are too far tilted and you can't quite get a stretch, you can push your legs further over your hips and allow your hands to settle on your knees. We hold this position, feeling the stretch along the inner. Let's return to our first position, putting our knees into our chest, and we rock 3 times along the floor until we come up to a seated position. Spinning ourselves around onto our knees and then slowly raising our shoulders upward while we are balancing on our knees. Take one of your legs out to the front. We allow our foot to be ahead of our knee and then we exhale as we move our hip forward and stretching into the hip flexor. In this stretched position, your knee is in line with your ankle and just check that it has not gone over your ankle. If it has, readjust yourself to have a straight line down. Holding this position, not forcing your spine too upright. We want to be comfortable tucking in the core and lengthening our spine up. Let's place our hands on the inside of the knee, flat on the floor, and we then push and extend our hips more towards the floor, feeling the increased stretch in the hip flexor. If you wish to proceed from here, move your hands forward and rest your elbows onto the floor. Trying to keep your spine straight, you're going to feel increased stretches over the hip flexor, into the thigh, as well as into the front leg. Breathing through your move to relax your body into the position, we hold this position. Carefully helping yourself out of your position, placing your hands flat on the floor, we split the hands, turn the foot under, and lift the knee into our next stretching position. Lengthening our spine to ensure it is straight, keeping our neck in neutral, we hold our position. We allow the back leg to bend down, and we shift our weight backwards, that our hips is placed over our knee and our front leg has gone straight. Allow your toe to go into a flexed position so that you can feel an increased stretch into the calf. Straight spine folding forward as you feel a stretch of multitude muscles stretching through the back of the leg. Shifting yourself out of your position, we place the back foot and lift the back leg off the floor, and we slide the front foot out into a downward facing dog with a raised leg. We glide back into threading the needle, placing our knee in the center of our chest and shifting our weight backwards and resting our elbows on the floor, keeping our spine straight and focusing on the hips square to the floor. We can feel a nice deep stretch into the hips and over the glutes. Holding this position, we take deep breaths in, and as we exhale, we raise our spine upward into our new stretch, feeling it also over the hip flexor. Carefully help yourself out of your position, and we're going to place ourselves into downward facing dog, gliding the free leg upward, and we slowly bring it down to the ground to go into downward facing dog. Position your feet shoulder width, hands are shoulder width, heels are pushing into the ground, and the shoulders are pushing towards the knees, a nice prominent V shape. We alternate the legs and reach the next leg upward as high as you can, and then slowly return it back to downward facing dog and shifting your weight back onto your knees, reaching out forward and pushing the shoulders through to the ground, keeping the hips over the knees. Your forehead is resting on the ground as you're focusing on your breathing, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Help yourself out of your position, and we're going to take ourselves to a seated position. Legs are folded and spine is lengthened upward. Stretching out the neck, we drop the ear to the shoulder, lengthen the spine and tuck in the core. Let's alternate it to the other side. Ear goes to the shoulder, lengthening the spine, dropping the shoulders towards the floor to open up the trapeze. Return it back to center, and we turn to the opposite side so we can stretch out the other leg. Resting on our knees, we allow one leg to go forward, the ankle is in front of the knee, and we exhale, pushing the hip forward that our knee lands up right over our ankle. Holding the position to stretch out the hip flexor and lengthening the spine upward but not forcing it into any uncomfortable positions. We move into our next position, placing the hands on the inside of the knee and pushing the hip towards the floor so you can feel the increased stretch in the hip flexor. We lengthen the hands forward and exhale into the elbows, resting the elbows on the floor and pushing the hips forward towards the floor. We hold this position, lengthening out the spine, keeping the spine straight, and we're breathing into our position. Carefully and slowly, we're going to help ourselves out of our position, split our hands, turn our back foot under and lift our knee. Hold your position, pushing the hips forward and exhaling, relaxing the body. From here, we're going to slowly place the knee on the floor, shift our weight backwards, lengthening our front leg and flexing our foot towards us. Here we can feel the stretch through the back of the leg, and as we flex the foot towards us, there'll also be an increased stretch into the calves. Allow your hips to rest over your knee to just create the correct alignment with a straight spine. We shifted forward again, allowing the front foot to slide through into downward facing dog with one leg raised upward. And then as we return through, we thread the needle, placing the knee in line, the middle of our chest, shifting our weight backwards, resting on our elbows with a straight and lengthened spine, feeling the stretch deep down into the glutes and into the hip. Focus on the breathing, inhaling through the nose, and as you exhale, relax the muscles. Slowly lengthen your spine upward so we change the stretch more into the hip flexor as we keep our hips square to the floor. Carefully help yourself out of your position, gliding your front leg upward into a downward facing dog, one leg raised position. We're slowly going to bring that leg down and alternate the other leg up. Opening up your shoulder line. Allow your leg to be up as high as possible and then return it back to its first position, resting on your knees and placing yourself into the child position. Wrapping your hands backwards as they rest on your feet and then lengthening the spine over the feet. Really trying to lengthen each vertebra separately, curling the coccyx right over the feet. Focusing on the breathing, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And as we conclude our session, I'd like to thank you for joining me for yet another body sculpting session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are feeling relaxed, and I will definitely see you at the next one. Namaste.